SVG-TV News for Tuesday, May 13, 2025. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Grade 6 students across St. Vincent and the Grenadines will sit the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment, the CPEA, on Wednesday, May 14th and Thursday, May 15, 2025. The exams will be administered at 17 designated centers throughout the country. According to the Ministry of Education, a total of 1,691 students have registered to take the CPEA this year. The cohort includes 820 females and 871 males. The CPEA, administered by the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, is the key standardized assessment for students completing the primary education cycle in several Caribbean countries. It is designed to assess students' proficiency in essential literacy and skills required for transition into secondary school. The exam focuses on core subject areas and promotes critical thinking, problem solving, and application of knowledge. During the two-day examination period, students will complete multiple choice papers in 4 subjects: mathematics, social studies, language arts, and science. Each paper consists of 50 questions and is scheduled to last 1 hour and 15 minutes. This component represents 60% of the students' final CPEA score. The remaining 40% is derived from continuous assessments conducted at the school level, which includes projects, writing tasks, and teacher observations throughout the academic year. Results of the CPEA are expected to be released in June 2025. Following the publication of the results, the Ministry of Education will undertake the secondary school placement process to assign students to appropriate secondary institutions based on performance and available space. The Ministry of Education extends best wishes to all students participating in this year's examination. Additionally, the minister and ministry officials have expressed appreciation to head teachers, classroom teachers, parents, and all stakeholders for their unwavering commitment and support in preparing students for this important milestone in their academic journey. In other local news now, we hear that Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has emphasized the crucial role of volunteerism in fostering stronger, more resilient communities across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Speaking at the launch of the Greater Youth Volunteerism and Engagement, the GYVE project on Monday, held at the Methodist Church Hall in Kingston, Dr. Gonsalves remarked that volunteerism has declined in many communities over the years. He noted that the GYVE or the GIVE initiative serves as a national call to action, encouraging young people to reignite the spirit of service, not only to build physical infrastructure, but also to uplift and support one another. The GIVE program is designed to empower of-intention youth through hands-on, community-driven volunteer projects. It provides both funding and logistical support to help young people turn innovative ideas into tangible improvements in their communities.
Through the evolution of the economy, modernity, information technology, peculiarly, that which is supposed to bring us closer together, the information technology has actually helped to keep us apart. One of the paradoxes of the modern technology. And volunteerism is still there, but the volunteerism has receded. I saw the young lady, the persons who planned this video. The young lady said that she no number give, all she wants is money. You know, of course, the story ends well. Unfortunately, it doesn't end so well all the time, but it's a good idea. And that's why this program is called Greater Youth Volunteerism. Greater is acknowledging that there is youth volunteerism. But what we want to do is what exists to lift it higher. And what is hidden, where there may be hidden rationalities, let us bring them to light and facilitate them. And the state is involved, but the state can't do it by itself. The state can do it with persons in communities, not just one or two. That's one or two individuals, a group.
Prime Minister Gonsalves further stressed that the initiative aligns with the government's broader development goals. It is part of a national strategy to build a modern and competitive economy while also fostering a spirit of self-organization and solidarity among the nation's youth.
What we can't do, we can't bureaucratize it. It's not an IMF program. It's not a World Bank program. You know what I mean? I know you'd agree with me, Ricky. You know, it's not a program out at community college. It has to be limber. It has to be flexible. We gotta get this thing done. It doesn't make sense the Parliament vote $1.5 million this year, and we're starting a little late because we got to put things in place and understandable. But let us say we start, Ricky, is the beginning of June you're going to start? Right after the launch, okay. So you have really 7.5 months. Well, if you even say 7 months. Camilla is right. You have $200 and something thousand to spend every month, on an average. And maybe how it goes, you could always give it a little tap up. And I know the cynics may say, well, it's an election year. I wonder if half of them start to do it because it's an election year. Well, what about set? What about yes? We started just after we got in and set and on site and all the other things. It's just we roll out Prime. We roll out a lot of targeted specific interventions because I give it a framework in which we put it.
As part of the GIVE initiative, young Vincentians between the ages of 19 and 35 are invited to form groups and submit proposals for community enhancement projects. These projects could range from environmental cleanups and recreational space upgrades to educational and skills training workshops. Minister of Finance Camilla Gonsalves, also present at the event, announced that the government has committed $1.5 million to fund the GIVE projects. The financial support will cover materials, equipment, and other essentials required to bring the community-led projects to life. And Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Information Technology, Camilla Gonsalves, has outlined plans for the expansion of the Argyle International Airport, the AIA, which has been in operation for just over 8 years. Speaking on Star FM last evening, Minister Gonsalves stated that the airport has outperformed initial projections and that modifications to the current structure are now necessary to accommodate the growing demand.
When the Argyle International Airport was constructed, if you go back and look in the archives, you will see that it was designed to handle 800 or 1,000 people at one time. 400 to 500 coming in and 400 to 500 leaving. And it was done scientifically. The airport is serving its purpose. There are things we can do to make it more efficient. Like, for example, when you go there, even though we have 12 booths, most times you don't have 12 people in the 12 booths. You might have 8, you might have 6. So the first thing we have to do is make sure that the staffing is up to the demand. Yeah. Because obviously if you have more people in the windows, the people go through faster. Also, we have done things to make people go through faster. When the airport opened, people still had to fill out the form. You just walk in and hello, welcome. Yeah. They ask you 2 questions and you go about your business. So there are things we have done to make it more efficient. There are things that we can still do in the existing airport plan to make it more efficient.
He revealed that the government is working closely with a design team from the United Kingdom to review blueprints and assess options for streamlining the expansion process. The goal, he noted, is to reduce the overall timeline required for construction and minimize disruption to the airport operations.
What we are doing now is we are engaged with a design team from a particular company out of the United Kingdom. And they are looking at the format of the airport. They're looking at the footprint of the terminal building to see what can be done quickly so that we're not licking down walls and building for a whole year. But that what we can erect quickly to increase the space in the arrivals hall, to increase the number of conveyor belts that are available for luggage, and to reimagine the departure hall in terms of furniture to make there be more space. There's some design things that we have to do, and there's some structural things we have to do. We are awaiting the feedback from the design company. I don't want to say the name of the company, but it's a very well-known company out of the United Kingdom that we have engaged to get this work done. And I would expect that you would see something on the ground at AIA within the next 3 months, maybe 3-4 months.
Gonzalez added that pending approval of the final designs, construction is expected to begin within the next 3 months.
And the thing that they are designing, the structures they are designing, are erected very quickly. They're almost prefab, and you just come and you erect them. So it's not going to be, if you go into Miami sometimes, you go to Miami for a whole year, you see something saying, pardon our appearance, we're under construction. And they're building for a year, and you just have some board put up there. That's not what we're doing. We're getting some prefab structures that can be erected very quickly, and that's how they're being designed, that they can be erected very quickly and added into the very front of the hall on the tarmac side, and also in the back. You know, the airport has a sort of an indentation in the back to occupy some of that space back there, and then also some space off to if you're facing the airport, off to the left, adjacent to where the domestic arrivals is. There's like a small parking area there. So the designers are looking at those areas. They're doing the designs to submit to us. We haven't approved the designs yet. We're waiting to see what they come up with. But I would say 3-4 months, something will be on the ground, and it will be up and running within a few weeks.
Invest SVG continued its Diaspora Outreach Investment Program Home is Where the Heart Is over the weekend in Toronto, Canada. The initiative aims to foster a stronger connection between the Vincentian diaspora and their homeland, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while encouraging greater diaspora-led investment and entrepreneurship. The outreach program, which has already been held in the United Kingdom, is part of a broader effort to engage Vincentians living abroad in national development. Upcoming events are scheduled for Washington, D.C. and New York. The initiative focuses on identifying investment opportunities with diaspora members and promoting entrepreneurship, innovation, and business partnerships linked to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Addressing the forum on Saturday in Toronto, Canada, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Sandy Peters-Phillips, emphasized the government's ongoing commitment to strengthening ties with Vincentians overseas.
Acknowledging this important initiative coordinated by Invest SVG and recognizing the vital role of our diaspora, which they plays in our national development, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is pleased to announce that permission was granted to authorize the Consulate of St. Vincent and the Grenadines right here in Toronto to provide additional notarial services, notarizing documents for investment purposes. May I have a clap for that? Now, by facilitating notarial services, we aim to, 1, streamline investment processes, as it is expected to reduce bureaucratic hurdles, enabling quicker and more efficient investment transaction. 2, enhance the trust and transparency. We believe that direct interaction with our consular official fosters confidence in the investment process and ensuring that all legal formalities are appropriately handled. And 3, strengthen the diaspora engagement. By offering these services, it demonstrates that our commitment to supporting our diaspora and encouraging their active participation in national development. Furthermore, this initiative aims to bring essential services closer to our citizens and ensuring that they have access to the necessary documentation and the support as it relates to investments.
Chief Executive Officer of Invest SVG Glen Beach told attendees that the Home is Where the Heart Is initiative was born out of the recognition that investment should not be limited to large foreign investors. Beach also praised the role of national infrastructure in attracting investment. He highlighted the success of the Argyle International Airport in facilitating access and boosting investor confidence. Additionally, he pointed to the soon-to-be completed modern port facility in Kingston, which is expected to significantly enhance trade and commercial activity once operational later this year.
Because under the current port, we can take one ship at a time, and it had to be a specialized ship that had its own cranes. With this new modern port, we can take two big ships at a time. They don't have to have their own cranes. So it doesn't limit us to the types of ships that can come into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But on top of that, this modern port facility will be the most modern port facility in the Eastern Caribbean. That opens up a tremendous amount of business for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially the potential to be a transshipment area for the Eastern Caribbean. You know, yesterday in some of the meetings, CG Huggins made the point to one or two of the businessmen. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is centrally located, 22 minutes from St. Lucia, 24 minutes from Barbados, 23 minutes from Grenada by plane. It puts us in the center of everything, 45 minutes from Trinidad. So if we build on the strength of where we are, geography-wise, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the perfect hub. And we've already had one or two companies approach us about being the hub for their businesses when the modern port is completed. Now, I use those two examples of Argyle International Airport and the modern port facility to show you the potential of what you have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the potential you have as Vincentians to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And when we say invest, a lot of times we're talking about businesses, and if you see that in your future, not a problem. But your homes.
The Home is Where the Heart Is program continues to serve as a key pillar in the government's strategy to harness diaspora engagement for national development, economic growth, and community empowerment. Spiritual Baptists across St. Vincent and the Grenadines are being encouraged to show greater unity and support for one another, especially as they prepare to celebrate Spiritual Baptist Liberation Day observed as a national holiday on May 21st, 2025. The call for solidarity came from Archbishop Melford Pompey during the recent launch of the official activities for Spiritual Baptist Day. Speaking at the event, Archbishop Pompey emphasized the importance of internal unity within the community, highlighting that despite progress over the years, lingering divisions and outdated attitudes still persist. He encouraged Baptists to use the upcoming celebrations as an opportunity for reflection, thanksgiving, and spiritual renewal.
You know, one of the things that I have noticed is the way we as spiritual Baptists react to one another. There was a time when the colonial masters had us down, they oppress us. They bring the Shaker Prohibition Ordinance of 1912, and it kept us down, but we were not forsaken. There was a God that looked over us. But today, it is not the colonial masters. It is our very own. And I want to use this opportunity today to call on all spiritual Baptists. Doesn't matter what diocese you belong to. We are spiritual Baptists, and we must stand and support one another. United we stand, divided we fall.
Archbishop Pompey also assured the Spiritual Baptist community that the planned Liberation Day celebrations have the full backing of the relevant government ministries. He stressed that this official support underscores the national importance of the holiday and the value placed on the contributions of the Spiritual Baptist faith.
It is time to recognize that we must be our brother's keeper. But I'm sorry that sometimes when I look at it as if we are ready to bury our brother alive. When we look at what is happening today, few months ago, I thought we'd be at Sand Hill with the Spiritual Baptists, doing what we're doing here. But a few weeks ago, the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Ecclesiastical Affairs came on board. And I can tell you this, that they has added what I will want to describe to the Spiritual Baptist celebration here, a kaleidoscope of colors.
A week of activities is scheduled to take place from May 18 to May 25th, leading up to May 21st holiday. These events will include worship service, cultural showcase, educational forums, and community outreach programs aimed at honoring the legacy and resilience of the Spiritual Baptist community. We hear that Fisherman's Day 2025 will be observed on Monday, June 9th. This year marks the 48th anniversary of the annual celebration, which recognizes the contribution of the local fishing industry and highlight the importance of sustainable practices in fisheries and aquaculture. The theme for this year's observance is catalyzing sustainable fisheries and responsible aquaculture action for people, ocean, and climate. At the official launched event hosted by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labor, Minister Subota Caesar noted that this year's celebrations come at a time of global challenges, particularly those related to climate change and the U.S. imposed tariffs that affect trade and food security.
I am really happy another year to begin this period of celebration, period of reflection, and a period of preparation with the Fisherfolk of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are aware that last year the fisherfolk in our country were impacted negatively by the hurricane, and we as a government, we have provided significant support thus far, and over the coming days, weeks and months we will continue to provide support to our fisherfolk in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Recently we launched in our country through the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Operation Homegrown. And when we speak about Operation Homegrown, we are addressing the issue of ensuring that we improve and we increase local production of food and also productivity. Currently, we have a significant increase in our country of plantain production. And the question I want to ask, why are we not supporting more of our local plantain chip makers? We're importing plantain chips from many other countries, but it is time for us to ensure that we have a platform to support our local producers.
The minister also called attention to the growing concerns over the importation of processed fish products. He urged stakeholders to consider expanding local processing capabilities, especially given the human resource potential available across the country's fishing communities.
Value addition is going to be one of the mainstay of our quest to reduce our food import bill and also to address the important issue of import substitution. In approximately 2 weeks, we are going to welcome to St. Vincent and the Grenadines Mr. Mahindra Ramdulal, a technical officer from Trinidad and Tobago, who will be working not only with farmers but also with fishers to ensure that, for example, it's mango season. We want to place all mangoes to good use. It is time for us to, as we expand the agro-processing sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and as we work to add value, that we do not only look at eating mangoes fresh, but those persons who are into the production of juices in the country, those persons who are into the production of mango preserves, and it's not only mangoes that we're going to look at, we're also going to look at tomatoes. We had a significant increase of tomatoes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, so much so that the government had to establish a stabilization fund for the markets, where we purchase both plantains and tomatoes for redistribution. Our farmers and our fishers, they are both doing an excellent job. And what we want and what we are promoting is a veritable national buy local campaign. Eat what you grow, eat what you know.
In addition, Minister Caesar highlighted the government's plans to further enhance local agricultural production through the construction of 40 new shade houses. He said these facilities will not only boost food production, but also pave the way for the development of value-added products.
We have at Vinci Fresh the equipment already being used for the production of jams and jellies and the pepper sauce, the seasonings, and we are going to expand on that line that is available there. So I want to use this opportunity as we celebrate the 48th anniversary, and I'm going to invite all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to come out at the grand finale, the activity that we are going to have on the final day. And I said last year and the year before that you can expect to see me on one of the boats going out. Last year the weather was not that conducive and I chose not to, but it is in that vein that I celebrate the bravery of the Fisherfolk of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because we know that they are out there all the time ensuring that we have food and nutrition security in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Fish must always be affordable, available, and accessible.
Fisherman say 2025 will feature a range of activities honoring fisherfolk, promoting sustainable practices, and encouraging community involvement in marine conservation and responsible aquaculture. And local fishermen from various communities have expressed satisfaction with their participation in a two-day workshop organized by the Caribbean Network of Fisherfolk Organization, the CNFO. The initiative is aimed at improving awareness and understanding of fishing policies and best practices. Speaking with SVG-TV News, several fishermen say they welcome the opportunity to be included in meaningful discussions on the industry and appreciated the focus on information sharing.
2 days, we really would love to see the St. Vincent Fisherfolk develop a better understanding of the policy structures that guide the sector, particularly regionally and globally, because they would be aware a lot of the national regulations and things like that, but the other policy structures that guide the industry. And in addition to that, we also wanted to be able to give to the fisherfolk the empowerment required to develop good advocacy, so that they can not only represent themselves but also look at how they can participate in the governance structures in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The workshop is part of a broader effort by the CNFO to strengthen the capacity of fisherfolk in the region, equipping them with the knowledge and tools needed to sustainably manage their livelihoods in the face of changing environmental and regulatory conditions. Project coordinator with the CNFO, Mitchell Lay, said he is hopeful that the training will leave participants better prepared to conduct their fishing activities more effectively and responsibly.
As a fisherman, I'm concerned about the fishing generally in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and even with our problem where you have St. Lucian fishing in our waters, and when we go to in their waters, you have a problem with the Coast Guard and these things. So I think that we need to have something in place that we could be able to fish in their waters, and even the fishing in ours is not a problem because we are Caribbean people, and that we manage our fisheries maybe better than what it is, so that we have our resources for years to come.
My interest mainly is knowing more about the policies that our government sets, especially not only for St. Vincent, but the wider Caribbean, because I believe in Caribbean unity, and how we support one another in our fishing industries, because we know how fragile our industries are. And once government put proper mechanism in place for the small-scale fishers to benefit from the industry, it's always the need for all the knowledge and ideas and everything meshing together for the benefit of the individual fishers and their extended family.
In other local news now, we hear that the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the SVG-TV, is investigating a fatal shooting that occurred in the community of Green Hill today, which resulted in the death of Stephen King, a resident of the area. The police say, according to preliminary reports, at approximately 12 noon, masked gunmen entered King's premises and opened fire, shooting him multiple times about the body. The assailants fled the scene shortly after the incident. The police say King was immediately transported to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries shortly after arrival. The crime scene unit was processed and the scene collected exhibits of evidential value, and investigations are ongoing. A post-mortem examination is expected to be conducted to determine the exact cause of death. The SVG-TV extend condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones of the deceased during this time of grief. The police are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed the incident or who may have information that can assist with the investigation to contact them. The law enforcement agency says information may also be shared with any police station or trusted police officer. All information will be treated with the strictest confidentiality.